The issue, in my opinion, is the speed and animation of a lot of its skills that open up a ton of counterplay. Some of the skills, it seems like you're locked into place for literally an eternity. Number 11, very stamina dependent. Meteor dive, it has a stiffness, but the follow-up can be, like, following up that stiffness can be very difficult because of the speed of meteor dive. Righteous Smite, the skill that everyone had been talking about, the one with the insane multiplier, it's not as good as you think. Sorry, it's just not. Go and do it. It's a super slow projectile. I don't like the swaps going into Awakening.
So, I don't want to say I told you so, but I definitely told you so. If you guys are wondering what that intro is about, let me explain that real quick. So when Archer was first released, I re-rolled to it, rushed to 60, enhanced my shit to soft cap, and dove right into the PvP to get a basic feel for the class. After all the skills were released, it was all PvP practice from there, testing out real-time fighting as well as skill mechanics. I came to the conclusion that the class was just not viable to be considered a higher tier PvP class, with the exception of maybe mass PvP such as Node Wars or Siege. While most people were actually calling the class broken OP due to its multipliers, I was trying to convince everyone else otherwise. I legit had more dislikes on the video than I had likes, and had a lot of people flame me for my statements. Fast forward a few weeks later, PA began to dish patch after patch, buffing Archer in the ways consistent with the points I made in the video. After going back to Striker, I eventually got bored with it, and well, to be honest, I was just bored of Black Desert altogether. So I wanted to get a change of pace, so I decided to go back to Archer and check it out. And holy shit, it was fucking awesome. They definitely revamped the class. So I went back to it, I played it, and after playing it for a little while, I wanted to make an updated impressions video for you guys about the class and give some insight to those who would like to know what the Archer is like at endgame. So what's an Archer's role? Archers are true range damage dealers with great kiting capabilities and big burst damage. Their damage is in the form of slow telegraph skills, but getting caught by them results in massive pain. Think sniper rifles over machine guns in terms of damage. The standout trait that archers have on top of their damage is their ability to stay protected. Unlike rangers, archers have a lot of access to protection and in both ranged and in melee stances. This allows archers to trade at range and kite at melee. Before, archers were essentially gimped and bottom tier due to the fact that their animations were simply too slow and had stamina issues. Stamina being the stat that was consumed in order to kite. Now that these issues have been revamped, this class is in a great place. I would say that this class is definitely in the higher tier in terms of overall PvP. I also want to add that in my personal opinion, this is probably one of, if not the most difficult class to master in terms of PvP mechanics and competing at a high level. The average Joe playing this class going up against a top tier player will absolutely get wrecked. I honestly think there's going to be a massive difference between a top tier archer and a mid tier archer. I mean, granted, it's the same with every class, but I think it's more pronounced with the archer class. Now, before you throw me into the pit here, I don't mean quote-unquote the hardest to master in terms of animation canceling or anything like that. If it were based on key inputs, then archer wouldn't even be able to compare to classes like ninja and warrior's difficulty level. What I mean is the utilization of its kit to its full potential is harder than any other class that I've experienced so far. The archer is equipped with a very versatile kit, but it's not something that is linear in mechanics or spammable. Every skill the archer has in its kit have cooldowns and a very specific type of protection and animation. You have to cycle between these skills constantly while managing your cooldowns, stamina, HP from trade, positioning, opponent skill use and rotations, etc. This is a very different thing from, let's say, Ninja, which is another class that has a high skill ceiling due to its kit, but the skills being utilized are essentially spam, thus deeming them to be very linear by my definition. You can make amazing plays using Ghost Step and Transition Stance. I mean, I've seen some great plays utilizing that kit, but those skills are spammed and repeated at the end of the day. Musa also is a class that has a big gap between an average Joe and a top tier player. However, they are essentially just utilizing a linear kit more effectively. At the end of the day, a lot of plays are made through the use of their dash, Chase, which is just spammed over and over. The experience with Archer is one that will focus on surviving first, then attacking only when windows of opportunities are formed. Face-to-face engagements, you will not be constantly spamming things, as your first priority will be to stay out of danger and to kite. However, the trade-off to that is that you will be dealing chunks of damage that one cannot ignore during those windows if you can land your attacks. You can literally two-shot someone through trade without having to CC them if you get clean shots off. With that, let's talk about some of the class mechanics, because that statement alone in itself sounds broken as fuck. The damage is real. On the surface, people are going to see a class that kites well and hits like a fucking truck. The massive damage that will stand out comes from two skills, Piercing Light and Righteous Smite. These skills are standout not because they will end a target in a combo, but because they can end targets that aren't even CC'd. Every class can burst someone down if that target is CC'd. Not many can blow someone up that is sitting in super armor. Full Bloom is a third, but I'm not going to count it because it only hits like a truck when you are point blank, which is only done in combos to targets who are CC'd already. The counterplay to those two skills is that they are extremely slow and telegraphed. Every single class has the capability of dodging those skills. The other skills the Archer has all do very good damage, but are also pretty slow, allowing classes that have access to iframes to mitigate a lot of damage that the Archer would otherwise apply. Think big but slow damage. That is pretty much what Archer is all about. It's like a ranged Crush Crusher on Musa. Super easy to dodge and even counterplay involved, but extremely punishing if you get caught by it. The reason I say this class is a high skill ceiling is because of its kiting kit. Surviving is everything on this class, and PA has given it just enough to make that happen. Without going into too much detail, you have Glide, which is Archer's Dash, which is super armor, which has super armor rather. You have Meteor Dive, which has super armor. You have Piercing Cry, which is frontal guard. You have Zephyr Leap, which has frontal guard. And you have Tactical Strike, which is the only iframe that you have, which is actually only protected at the very beginning part of the roll. And the last thing you have is the Black Spirit skill, which is Zephyr Leap in its pre-awakening. If you hit Shift S, right mouse button, that will use the Black Spirit skill, which is an iframe that turns into a super armor. These are the main skills you will have to manage and use correctly if you want to play Archer to its full potential. First thing to note are the cooldowns. Some of these skill cooldowns are up to 6 seconds long. The second thing to note is the animations of these skills. If you use Zephyr Leap too close to a target, it doesn't matter that it's protected by frontal guard. You can get CC'd out of it due to its wind up and slower animation. To play effectively, you won't be able to just use any of the 6 skills that I just mentioned. Only one may actually be effective for a given situation. For example, if you're trying to keep space against a ninja and you use Zephyr Leap, he can either log or Murderous Intent to the side to counterplay it, and he will win that trade 8 days out of the week. Yes, I'm fully aware that there are 7 days in a week. What I absolutely love about this class is its ability to not focus on catching someone with a CC. Coming from Striker, where you're just fishing for a grab or a stun before you can really kill someone, Archer is much the opposite. You're actually focusing on not getting caught while burning the opposing target through trade. If you get a catch, then even better. If not, it doesn't matter. Archers have the ability to blow through frontal guards with the use of just 1 to 2 skills, applying a ton of pressure to targets. Every class you fight, when you land one of the harder hitting skills on their block, you absolutely know that they have no more frontal guard left, which can completely change the tide of a fight. I love the fact that the success of a fight was more about whether I can create a window of opportunity for myself and then follow it up with a skill that lands on the target. The only way I can land this skill is by having the window and identifying the opposing player's skill rotation and try to catch them during a frame I know they aren't protected or iframing it in. For example, if I see a ninja transition stance, I know the ghost step is coming next. Most likely, especially if there's space. I'll fire right at the end of his ghost step to try and catch him during his next transition stance to break his block. Fights would literally be determined by whether I could land shots during those windows or not. It was a different pace and I absolutely loved that. But in order to do this, you need gear. This class will absolutely suck if you don't have the AP for it. It's a lot like Musa in that aspect. The more AP you have, the brighter the class shines. A big reason why this class is considered a contender is the fact that fights change when pressure is applied. When you have the ability to blow through someone's frontal guard in one hit and constantly deplete their HP without having to land a CC, the mechanics of the fight completely change. It's like trying to beat a striker on a Musa or a Sork at the 450 gear score level. It's like trying to kill a Zerker in pre-awakening days when 130 AP was considered good. The damage just gets out-healed by its sustain through pots and self-heals. Soft cap AP at the very least to start seeing some success. The experience becomes significantly better and easier when you hit 265 plus AP. The more AP you get, the more fun it becomes. Personally, I play this class at soft cap AP as well as my current AP, which is 274. If there are any complaints I would have for this class, it would definitely be the amount of holes in its super armor. I've literally been CC'd in just about everything, even glide. I also don't like the super armor duration on Spears Livia. I think that the super armor duration on that skill is a little bit too short. But as far as holes go, you know, at the end of the day, I guess every class does have holes in their super armors. So that is something that every class has to deal with. In conclusion, I think Archer is in a great spot right now, and I don't think there are going to be too many changes to it in the future. Any nerf or buff that comes will be a very small one, as I see this class being in a very good state, near perfect state to carry out its designed role. It's a class that requires a lot of practice and a lot of skill to fully utilize. You're either going to be really, really fucking good or really, really fucking bad. I will say that there are a lack of archers, and if there were more players playing this class that were able to master it, you'd see a ton of people calling for nerfs, because it can give off the impression of being god tier if played with high AP and in the hands of a very skilled player. If I had to say nerf or buff, and those were my only two options, I'd say nerf right now. If you've stuck with me for this long, I just wanted to give a little insight on the fights you see here. The first part of this is with a guildie that is playing with low AP and soft cap DP, so there is a little bit of gear discrepancy there. The second fight was with arguably the best warrior on our server, whom has 260 plus AP. He is the Arena of Arsha official BDO tournament champion for our region, as well as the runner-up of the SOTF PvP tournament. The guy is good. Our duel went on for over an hour, and the dude absolutely wrecked me. All the PvP you see here is within 12 days of me playing Archer, so I'm fully aware I am not utilizing the kit to its potential. I'm fully aware of my jump of shames. I'm fully aware of my failed combos. I'm fully aware of my double Zephyr leaps. I'm fully aware that I'm making a lot of facepalming mistakes. I am totally aware. Tough to master a class in 12 days, guys. Muscle memory hasn't even been ingrained yet. Regardless, it was a ton of fun playing this class, and I highly recommend anyone to try and play this class if you're looking for a different pace, or if you like that ranged kiting type of game style or gameplay. I would really say try Archer because this class is fantastic. The only downside is that you definitely need AP and gear to actually experience the true potential of this class. With that said, guys, if you have any questions or comments, just either catch me on my stream or leave a comment below. I hope this has been insightful for you guys, and I will see you next time.